Imagine waking up tomorrow without a boss, without a manager, without an alarm clock screaming in your ear, and still having money coming into your pocket before you even have your coffee. It sounds like a lie, like talk from someone who wants to sell you a course. But I guarantee you this is more real than you imagine. And it all starts with an animal that's in the back garden of almost every country home. An animal so common that most people don't even notice the gold mine they have right in front of their eyes. The chicken. And before you roll your eyes thinking this is something for old ladies, stay with me until the end, because I'm going to show you 7 reasons that will completely change the way you see this animal. And the last reason no one has the courage to tell you. I've worked with rural livestock for many years. I've seen people lose everything starting the wrong way. I've seen fathers sell their cars to buy cattle and go bust in less than a year. I've seen excited dreamers invest everything in pigs without understanding anything about management and end up buried in debt. And at the same time, I've seen humble people, people who started with 5 chickens at the bottom of the garden, turn into egg suppliers for the whole city. And the difference between these two groups wasn't luck. It wasn't money. It was a choice. It was where they started. And that's exactly what I want to talk to you about today. The first reason, and perhaps the most important of all, is that a chicken costs almost nothing to start. Think with me. To raise a cow, you need pasture, fencing, plenty of water, huge space, a lot of money just to buy the first animal. To raise pigs, you need facilities, waste management, expensive feed. But to start with chickens, my friend, you need a corner of the back garden, some chicken wire, a feeder and drinker that you can improvise, and a few birds that cost the price of a snack. That's it. You can start with the money you have in your pocket right now. And that's the beauty of it, because the biggest fear of those who want to be entrepreneurs in the countryside is precisely the risk of losing everything. And with chickens, this risk is minimal. If something goes wrong at the beginning, you lost little, learned a lot, and can start over the next day. But here comes the most important part, and it's something that most people never stop to think about. Chickens give you a fast return. And when I say fast, I mean really fast. A good laying hen starts laying eggs, and you already have a product to sell in a matter of days, not years. Think again about the cow. You wait months and months for the calf to be born. You wait even longer for it to fatten up. You spend all the time feeding, waiting, hoping, and then the money only appears way down the road. Not with chickens. You put the laying hen in today, and tomorrow you already have an egg in the basket. And eggs are money. Eggs are what everyone buys every week. In the city, in the village, at the local bakery. No one stops eating eggs, and that's why this is the easiest product to sell that exists in the rural environment. And I want to tell you a quick story, because this is where I truly understood the power of this business. I met a woman, Donna Sebastiana, a simple lady who was widowed and left without any income. She had no education, no pension, nothing. She only had a back garden and a lot of will not to go hungry. She started with 12 chickens she got from a neighbor. 12? Just that. In the beginning, she sold eggs only to acquaintances. A dozen here, another there, but she was organized. She wrote everything down in a notebook. She reinvested every penny, and in little more than a year, that woman who had nothing was delivering eggs to 3 markets in the city with her own shed with more than 200 birds. In the detail that gives me chills to this day, she told me that, for the first time in her life, she slept peacefully without fear of tomorrow, and it all started with 12 chickens and a notebook. Now pay attention, because the third reason is something that many people underestimate. Chickens fit anywhere. You don't need a farm, you don't need hectares, you don't need expensive land. In a small space the size of a back garden, you can raise dozens of birds with ease. And this completely changes the game for those who live near the city, for those who have little land, for those who think they need to own a huge property to start making money in the countryside. You don't. The chicken is the most democratic animal there is. She adapts to the heat, she adapts to the cold, she gets by with what she has. And while the neighbor is still dreaming of buying land, you can already be producing and selling in the space you already have. And there's more, because chickens don't just give you one source of income, they give you several at the same time. And this is something no one explains to you properly. Most people think only of the egg, but the egg is just the beginning. You have the meat, which is sold easily, especially the free-range chicken, which today is worth gold because people want to eat real food, food without chemicals, the taste of the old days. And those who raise free-range birds fed with corn and pasture can sell them for a price much higher than industrial broiler chickens. And besides the meat, you have reproduction, because every hen that hatches eggs gives you new chicks. And every chick is an extra animal, without you spending to buy it. It's your flock growing on its own, multiplying, turning into more eggs, more meat, more money. And there's still the manure, which for those who have a garden or for those who sell to those who do, is another income that falls from the sky. So think about it. In a single animal, several sources of income coming out of it at the same time. But I wouldn't be honest with you if I told you only the beautiful part, because most videos you watch only show you the dream and hide the mistakes. And mistakes are what make most people give up. So let me tell you what no one has the courage to say. The first mistake that kills the beginner is wanting to grow too fast. The person gets excited, buys 100 birds at once without knowing how to manage 10, and then comes overcrowding, disease comes, bird stress comes, and in 1 week they lose half the flock and give up, thinking the business is no good, but the business was good. Who wasn't ready was them. Start small, learn with a few birds, understand the rhythm, feel the management on your skin, and only then, with the money the business itself generated, do you increase slowly, safely, because growing with business profit is different from growing with debt. And the second mistake, this one is silent, this one kills without making a sound, is the lack of care for hygiene. Many people think a chicken is just about throwing food and waiting for the egg, and it's not. Dirty water, an uncleaned environment, lack of worming, absence of vaccines in regions where disease attacks. This brings down the entire flock at once, and the person doesn't even understand what happened. But the good news is that preventing is simple and cheap. Clean water every day, feeders without mold, a well-ventilated space, sunlight coming in, observing the bird's behavior, because a sick chicken changes its behavior before getting really ill. She eats less, she stays quiet in a corner, she ruffles her feathers. And those who learn to observe this act before losing. And those who don't observe lose everything. And it was exactly here that many people I knew threw money away without understanding why. Now about choosing the right chickens, because this is a doubt that destroys many beginners. It's no use buying any bird thinking they are all the same. They're not. If your goal is eggs, you need a true laying breed, a bird that was selected to lay almost every day and not that pretty back garden chicken that lays an egg once in a while. If your goal is meat, you choose a broiler strain or the good old free range, which takes longer but sells better. And the trick, which few tell you, is to look at the source, buy from those who take good care, from those who don't sell sick birds, from those who show you the flock. Because a cheap bird of doubtful origin can cost you dearly later on when it brings disease into your production. And here's a detail about feeding that can be the difference between profit and loss, because feed is the biggest cost of the business. It's where money slips through your fingers if you're not smart, and most aren't. Most buy industrial feed for everything and complain that there's no profit left. But the smart producer does it differently. He takes advantage of what the land gives. He plants corn, he uses vegetable scraps, he gives greens, he uses earthworms. He raises larvae to supplement protein. He lets the bird scratch and find part of its food on its own. And with that, he cuts the feed bill almost in half without losing productivity. And when you cut the biggest cost of the business without reducing production, what's left at the end of the month isn't just profit, it's freedom. But here comes something I need you to understand, because it's reason number 6, and it's perhaps the most underestimated of all. The chicken teaches you, she trains you as a producer, she is the best school that exists in the countryside. Because everything you learn raising chickens, the animal cycle, the management, the feeding, the hygiene, the cost control, the sales, the reinvestment, all these are lessons that serve for any animal you go to raise later. So someone who starts with chickens isn't just making money, they are getting prepared. They are building experience. They are building the foundation. And when that person decides to move on to a larger animal, to pigs, to goats, to cattle, they go with an entrepreneur's mindset, with a sense of numbers, with control, and not with that blind excitement that breaks so many people. The chicken is the first step, and those who skip this step usually fall later on. And while you learn from her, she gives you something else that no money buys at the beginning. She gives you confidence. Because there's no better feeling for someone who's starting than seeing the first egg, selling the first dozen, receiving the first money that came from your own effort, from your own back garden. And this confidence is the fuel that makes the person continue, that makes them believe they are capable, that makes them see that, yes, you can live off this. And I've seen people who were destroyed inside, without a job, without perspective, thinking they were good for nothing, reborn upon seeing that they could produce their own livelihood with their own hands. And that, my friend, is priceless. And now the time has come for the seventh reason, the one I said no one has the courage to tell you. And look, pay close attention here, because this is what separates those who only dream from those who actually change their lives. The seventh reason is that chickens give you time. They give you the freedom to start without giving up everything you already have. And this is brilliant, because the biggest lie they tell you is that to be an entrepreneur, you have to jump in head first, quit your job, risk everything. And that's what sinks most people. Not with chickens. You can be working, studying, taking care of the house, and still run your production in your spare time. Feed them in the morning before leaving, collect the eggs in the late afternoon, sell on the weekend, and go growing slowly without despair, without going hungry, without going into debt, until one day, without you even realizing, what was an extra becomes your main income. And then, yes, with security, with firm ground under your feet, you decide to take the next step. And that's exactly how so many people manage to escape that endless routine of working just to pay bills. People I know build an entire life without trauma, without despair, one egg at a time. I remember a guy, João, who was a bus conductor, earned little, lived tired, and started raising chickens in his back garden just to help with the household bills. He didn't quit his job. He didn't do anything crazy. He just kept taking care, selling, reinvesting, writing everything down. And one fine day, he realized that the production made more money than his salary. And on that day, with the peace of mind of someone who already had the business running, he quit. And today, the same guy who took crowded buses at dawn is the owner of his own production, works on his own time, sees his children grow up close by, and told me a phrase I'll never forget. He said, "When I understood that I didn't need to risk everything at once, everything changed. That's when I stopped being afraid." And that's what I want you to take from this video, that starting with chickens isn't a small thing. It's not a poor man's thing. It's not for those who have no ambition. It's exactly the opposite. It's the smartest move there is for those who want to build something real in the countryside. It's the path of least risk and greatest learning. It's starting with your feet on the ground to one day fly high. And those who understand this get ahead of everyone who is standing still, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting to save a lot of money, waiting to have a farm, waiting for a courage that never comes. Because the truth that no one wants to admit is that the perfect moment doesn't exist. What exists is starting with what you have where you are right now. So let me ask you, what's stopping you? Is it the fear of not working out? Is it the shame of starting small? Is it the illusion that you need a lot of money? Because if it's any of those things, I just showed you that none of them are true. You saw Dona Sebastiana start with 12 chickens. You saw João get out of poverty without quitting his job at once. And what they had that you also have is the decision. It's the courage to take the first step, even small, even shy, even with 5 chickens at the bottom of the garden. Because in the end, the difference between the person who a year from now will be complaining about life and the person who will be reaping the fruits of their own work isn't the money they have today, it's the decision they take now. And I really want you to be in the second group. I want you to come back to this video a year from now and comment saying, "I started and it worked." I want you to prove to yourself that it was possible all along. So if this video moved you, if you felt those butterflies in your stomach of someone who realized they can change their life, write down here in the comments how many chickens you're going to start raising. I'll read it, I'll answer. And subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell, because I'm going to teach you the step-by-step of everything I talked about here. How to set up the shed spending little, how to choose the best laying hens, how to sell for more, how to cut the cost of feed, and how to transform this small start into an income that will give you what no money can buy. Peace, freedom, and the pride of looking back and saying, I started from zero and I managed it. So don't let this video end without making your decision, because the chicken has already done its part. Now it's just you. If this story changed the way you see opportunities in your own back garden, subscribe to the channel and leave your like. We are revealing the paths to prosperity that many try to ignore. Start planting your future today. The next secret of rural success will be revealed soon.